Okay, I want to hit this, we're talking about this effort of the left. Among the many things I'm going to be focusing on more and more is how much America gets manipulated by what the term now frequently used is PSYOPs, psychological operations, where people are targeted and manipulated into seeing things a certain way, into being angry over certain things, to viewing certain issues a certain way. They're targeted by very, very, very smart people who spend a lot of time collecting data. This was another piece of that Shadowgate, the Millie Weaver's piece, Shadowgate. Another piece of it, a huge piece of it, was talking about how the idea that there are people who have, for our military, for decades engaged in psychological operations against our enemies, trying to figure out how do you orchestrate the people of this country to vote for X and not Y? How do you manipulate people? And they've used that against the American people. The radical left in this country has used that tactic against the American people to turn us against ourselves, to turn us against loving America. Just ask yourself, how did it become, after a country that is majority white elected a black president 2 elections in a row, and yet the moment he's gone, we have a new president. All of a sudden, every university in America, every media outlet, every radical leftist, every Democrat member of the House or Senate is incessantly talking about systemic racism, institutional racism. We have this massive problem. Didn't even hear about that in 8 years under Obama. Didn't even hear about that in the preceding decades because America has done a wonderful job on race. Not a perfect job, but a wonderful job. But this infecting the American psyche with the concept of institutional racism and structural racism is a psychological operation to turn Americans who are not aware what's happening to them against our country. But I wanted to hit in the post office very briefly. There is an effort on the left, as we've talked about in the show, to try to push mail-in ballots around the country. And mail-in ballots are a different thing than an absentee ballot. I have a quick clip from President Trump this morning. Matt the Wonderful has it. This is what he made this distinction this morning at a press conference at the White House.
Chuck Schumer should get back into Washington and they should approve stimulus for the people. We should give some of this was China's fault. It wasn't their fault. And we'd like to see payment going to the people, maybe PPE, but we want payment going to the people. We'll take care of the post office. We want to make sure that the post office runs properly, and it hasn't run properly for many years.
Okay, I tell you, there was a longer piece than that, but the gist of what he was saying was, Trump said in this clip, I probably sent Matt the wrong time parameters, but Trump said, look, mail-in ballots are one thing. You request a mail-in ballot, an absentee ballot, and because you send in the form, they send you the ballot, and then you fill it out and send it in. That is an absentee ballot filled out by someone who requested it. That's what an absentee or mail-in ballot is. And he's done them. Many people have done them. Our military does it overseas. Our diplomats overseas. People who are disabled for other reasons can't get out of their homes. They do those. What the left is talking about is a massive mail-in ballot effort where they're basically going to mail out ballots to people who didn't ask for them. Stories abound all over the news and the internet pointing out people getting 3 or 4 ballots. What's to stop them from voting them all? It's a massive effort, and the point of this in this today's story is what the left is doing is attacking the President Trump for his effort to clean up the post office and trying to say that he's trying to prevent mail-in ballots. He is trying to prevent mail-in fraud, which the left is trying to perpetrate. He is trying to stop it. But this entire attack by the Democrat Party on the post office is another psych-op, another psychological operation against the American people, another effort to dupe the American people into thinking that President Trump is interfering with fairness with the post office. There are changes at the post office very quickly. We'll get to this probably later, another show, but very quickly at the post office, there is a new person in charge at the post office who was brought in by Trump. And the reason in part he was brought in is because the post office is extremely inefficient inefficient. And the new guy's name, Postmaster General Louis DeJoy, is basically saying, you know, if you ran this like a private business, you wouldn't have all these overtime hours. You have overtime hours because of the structure of your day at the post office. So he's been making changes. He is not making the post office unworkable. He is not trying to make it impossible for mail-in ballots to happen. He's trying, this new Postmaster General is trying to fix problems internally at the post office. The left sees that Trump is trying to fix the problem at the post office, saying, oh, another opportunity to turn the people against President Trump, another opportunity to engage in a psychological operation against the American people, another opportunity to tell the American people that, you know, look at your president, he's trying to interfere with the mail-in ballots. Again, he is rightfully opposing the massive mail-in ballot fraud the left wants to do. He is cleaning up the post office, and this is another thing the left saw an opportunity to attack Trump, and so they are doing that. House Democrat leaders have announced they're going to have an investigation of U.S. postal leaders based on absolutely nothing at all.